Welcome to my Conscious Podcast. I'm Jessica Klingsborg, and this is a podcast where we dive into our inner worlds and the incredible skills hidden inside us. It is a space for honest and meaningful conversations where our guests share their stories and insights from their life experiences and journeys of self-discovery. Today, we are welcoming Axel Ferreyrolles, an intuitive architect, transformation catalyst, author, and former SAP leader. After nearly 3 decades shaping global technology and guiding teams around the world, Axel has turned his attention towards something deeper, the human and the living at the heart of transformation. From a very early age, he felt on a quest for the invisible, exploring how to weave and balance the different dimensions of our inner and outer worlds. Now he bridges that lifelong wisdom into a future the world truly needs. He describes himself as a guardian of the memory of the field, helping leaders and organizations remember what really matters: connection, creativity, and authentic human potential. So, hi everyone, and welcome to my Conscious Podcast. Today we are going to talk about that we are living in a new era, where business, performance, and profit are mixed with creativity, sense of belonging, emotions, and more than anything, energy. We are going from HR to HP, human research to rather human potential. And today with us, we have Axel Ferreyrolles, and you are a transformation catalyst. You're an author and former SAP leader, and you describe yourself as a guardian of the memory of the field. And you have worked nearly 3 decades with global technology, shaping it. And you have a lifelong exploration of spirituality and the invisible. So now you help leaders and organizations to reconnect with the human and the living at the very heart of transformation. I'm so excited to have you here, Axel. How are you feeling today? What is lighting you up internally and externally?
The title, thank you, Jessica, first of all, for this very nice intro. The title of your podcast, conscious. Being conscious is what drives me. I'm so enthusiastic, I'm happy, I'm curious, you will find out. I'm optimistic about what human is all about, who we are, who we become. And that's all I want to have a conscious discussion with you and bring that consciousness to the business and to the future for the generation and for this earth. Yeah, that's where I stand.
Yeah, I feel that we share this mission, that we are on similar paths. Even if we come from totally different places. And that is what I love about having this podcast, that I get to have so much exploration together with like-minded people like yourself. And I'm very curious about neuroscience. I mean, we are walking around with all this device, this human design. And most of us don't really know how it works. It's like to have a supercomputer and all the functionalities are there, but we don't know what buttons we should press or how the antiviruses were working. If we start from there, what made you tap into this path that you have chosen? What made you choose to work with? What came first, the inner technology or the outer technology?
Oh, I would say it always comes from the inside to the outside, right? And whether you look into ancient traditions or you look into quantum, it always comes from what you are aligning, the coherence you have within yourself and what you emit to the outside. And that was the intuition I got very early in my life, actually, that impression that whatever you see, whatever is material, actually comes from something invisible, as if you could influence what comes from the outside, what is outside from the inside. And that intuition got me into a crazy path of research, of investigation, of reading, but also of experiences and meeting amazing people. Getting in amazing places in parallel to my job. And when I was listening to your introduction, I guess that's what is amazing. I spent my life in large corporations surrounded by engineers and salespeople. And on the other hand, all my personal quest got me into spirituality, science, unified science, neuroscience, and looking into quantum. And, I just try to compute how this is possible. But the truth is, life is simply magical and it is unified. And it was a quest of unification, trying to understand how to stop dividing stuff. because our brain is so good in dividing stuff, and try to see what is the essence of everything. And what I found at the beginning, at the core of everything, is energy. And that's what I would like to talk to you about.
Yes, I would love to talk to you about that as well. Was Nikola Tesla one of your
Ah,
inspirations?
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
being a scientist.
I was shocked when I read somewhere, I don't know if it's true or not, I was not there, when Einstein got his Nobel Prize, uh,
Hmm.
not for the relativity, funnily enough, but for the photoelectric effect. Um, and the journalist came and said, what does it mean to you to be the smartest man in the earth or on the earth? He said, I don't know, ask Nikola Tesla. So, I mean, this man, Tesla, was so much in advance. Whatever he felt intuitively, what he brought to the surface, the number of technology patent that he created was just beyond this world. And he understood intuitively energy and, of course, tactically and practically as a researcher and a scientist. But what he brought to the table has been revolutionary.
Yes.
He's one of these inventors and one of these people who dares to say, there is something else. Look at it and try to make it clear to everyone. And he was also bold enough and courageous enough to speak up and to investigate something that was not common. And it's inspiring for me, because I guess we are today in an environment, a world where everything seems so crystallized, so boxed, so conceptual.
Yeah.
Well, actually, everything is so fluid, so energetic, so conscious, so more organic. And I guess it's time for us to sense this living aspect of life in everything,
Yeah.
including
Yes, because we
organization.
have been so externally focused on solutions outside ourselves for
Mm,
decades in the modern era. But thank God, I experience it that there is a lot more science going on and research on the invisible today.
mm,
That we have received science as the modern language of mysticism,
yes.
because people are still talking about if you believe in spirituality.
Mhm.
It's like to say, do you believe in Wi-Fi?
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, about this energy. I mean, could you elaborate on that? How has that been for you, being a scientist? That did that give you more credibility in your environment to speak about these things because you have this kind of language, science language?
Oh, yes. I think you touch on something which is very important. It's great that you research things if only you can share that with the rest of the people around you, the rest of
Mm,
the world. And what I learned, and I guess one of my skill, is to speak multiple languages. I am not a scientist, but I am interested in science. I have always looked at stars. I'm interested by astrophysics. I was reading books on universe. The Elegant Universe is just a beautiful book to read. And I was trying to talk with people about that. So I had to speak science. Um, and then I was talking to my dad, who is a Catholic Christian, and I was talking spirituality. And I had to speak a specific language in that respect. Then I became a coach. And as coach, I studied neuroscience. And then I started talking psychology. And then because I went into quantum physics, I started looking at the energy of physics and quantum metaphysics, because I'm not a quantum physician by search, but I could then speak energy. And even, and I dare to say it on your podcast, some experiences happened to me with UFOs. And this opened a new door, saying, what could be UFOs? Are they, black ops type projects with new development from humans, or can it be that there is something else? And that got me in what I call galactic thinking, and I started studying that as well. Why not? Keeping a curious open.
yes, I just love what I hear.
Yeah, and it gave me this point of view, and I would like to bring it to that table.
Mm,
I think in terms of materialism as one worldview, psychology as a second worldview, spirituality as a third worldview, quantum as a fourth worldview, and galactic as a fifth worldview. And I'm
mm.
balancing in between those five. And I'm used to
Yes.
speak to people who understand, think, and behave in those worldviews, and I'm able to speak those languages. So yes, it helped me big time to be able to have background into brackets through my research in science, even though I'm not a scientist, and I make it clear, but I'm interested and passionate about that. And I can
Mm.
speak those multiple languages. And I don't have any judgment on that. I can
No.
speak materialism. I work in IT companies. I was creating operating process for sales, very hardcore things. At the same time, I was doing experience on kinesiology, psychogenealogy, touching the archetypes of Carl Jung, going back into past lives. And you're like, okay, how do you move all that magnitude of frequencies, of realities? And what does it tell you about the reality of life? And
And how do you bring this into your 3D life? Because I mean, the most majority in a workplace, for example, they are very material world
oh
people.
yeah,
How do you bridge the quantum, the fifth dimension you're talking about, into the first here when you speak about things?
I'm playing. I'm having fun. My wife always asks me, Axel, what's the point? How does it help you in a day-to-day basis? And I keep
Yes.
saying, because I mean, she's very open to that, welcoming me, but she's not interested into it. And I guess it made me think a lot. And I guess the difference is that there is a sense of ease, because when you understand that everything is connected, when you understand you can co-create with life, you're not suffering or reacting to life, you are co-creating with life, you create an environment of ease. Easiness is the first answer. The second one is magic, right? When you see what happened, the fact that you can ease the process, you meet people, you have synchronicities, which are called, coincidence with meaning. All that happens because you have a way to interact and make it happen. It's just getting fun. It's getting magical, as I call it. And it
Yeah.
gives a flavor of life totally different. You're not a result of, cause and consequences. It's not true. There is much more than that. And you can have fun with life, with the environment, with nature, with the universe, even if you want to. If only you have a point of view and a belief system that
Mm.
makes it so that everything is interrelated. And that's where science and quantum is so important. Quantum physics shows you that everything is entangled. There is no such thing as separation. It's an illusion, as Einstein said. It's not true. And all the latest research tells you it's not true. Now, if it is the case, then ancient traditions are right. We are all part of everything, and fractal and holographic is true. It's all together. We are part of the whole, and the whole is part of us. And when you get into this and see it as a game, because it is a
Mm.
game, an experience, then
Yeah.
you're having fun. So easiness and fun, joy and magic is what I'm trying to bring to my life. That's how I see it.
But it's fun. Many times when other people don't see what you see, isn't that frustrating? I mean, how could you possibly accelerate oneness in a way that to get the collective consciousness to come on to that, to join you on that journey?
So here, I guess humility comes into the play. When you start and you find things, for me, I like to share information. So everything I make a discovery, I'm like, it's amazing. I need to tell it to the world. So I go to all my family and my friends and I tell them what I discovered. And I said, Axel, first, we don't believe in that. Second, we don't even understand what you're saying. And we don't
So
have,
they do say that to you.
oh
They
yeah, I
do
mean,
say, like, they question it.
oh yeah, since I'm very, very young, people are seeing me as
The
different.
UFO.
Yeah,
I'm
as a
just kidding.
UFO. But it took me, it had two effects, I must admit. The first one is loneliness,
Hmm.
because I was not part of a group who were actually understanding that. I was researching alone. That's always been my pattern. And therefore, loneliness kicks in. And many of the people who, like me, has a slightly different worldview feel lonely till we find our tribe, which happened recently.
Yeah.
The second point, though, is I sense that the spectrum of reality is larger. It's an intuition. It's within you, and you cannot drop it. Right? It's like in that movie Contact, when that lady had that experience. She's a scientist, but she had that experience, and everyone says, "But you, as a scientist, you agree this can be subjective." She says, "Yes." Says, "So yeah, then just deny what you experienced." She said, "I can't. I experienced it," and that's the point. Because everything I researched then has been transformed into experience, and life gave me experiences all the time. Proof
Yeah.
points. It became such a certainty that then I said, sorry, that's how I experience life. I cannot deny that. So I just built up with confidence and I started discussing that. And some people received it and two things happened, which was magical. The first one said, because I use all those levels of explanation from science to neuroscience, to energy, to spirituality, to quantum, people could have the threshold saying, okay, I get enough information to investigate and get curious. That's how I got people to move. Curiosity. And creating the bridge, right, in between the level
Yes.
of beliefs. It's like a ladder. You cannot jump from one level to 3 level up. It's not even levels. They are, as you wish, they are colors.
Yeah.
But you need to be of the right color. Otherwise, it doesn't work. You need to invite people in your world. And the second one is opening the mindset. We think like this because we didn't have an experience. But believe me, I met people totally amazingly who had near-death experience.
Yeah.
And when you talk about near-death experience, people say, yeah, But I met so many people with that, and it transformed so much their way of thinking. And it opened their chakras in such a big thing so that they can feel, sense energies, emotions, thoughts in totally different ways. That you say, whoa, that is real. I meet those people regularly, all the time. Lots of them are women, by the way. And it just validates that the perception that I had, the research I've made for 30 years, were not just crazy.
No.
It's studied by scientists, by psychologists, by psychotherapists, by psychiatrists, by physicists, by channels, by medium, by gurus. They all say the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's it. So loneliness is one thing, and then faith, courage, and I would say consistency is another one.
Yeah. And how is polarization and duality important in that? You are mentioning courage, loneliness. I mean, what is on the other side of that? So how do we overcome the duality? Because we need duality, right? In order to
Yes.
be all these things that you mentioned.
Oh, yeah. And duality, there is no physical
The dark and the
manifestation.
light, for example.
Yeah. There is no manifestation without plus minus yin yang, this polarity. Everything spins and rotates because of that polarity. So without polarity, no manifestation, no 3D reality, nothing, right?
Yeah.
Yet then there is something hidden behind it, which is the unification of those. So it's always a triangle, right? You have the polarity, then there is something above that. And that's what you need to look at if you want to go into mastery. And the research of mastery, which is not a state of being, it's actually a process, requires that you move from 2 to 3, right? And for me to get there, you need trust and faith. Because the duality is based on willpower thinking, right? This is reason. So reason is there and it analyzed from good to bad and all this. If you want to go one level up, then you need to trust and have faith. And that's a problem because it's beyond what we are used to do to control.
Yeah.
And if you control, you're extremely efficient, you're extremely effective, you are performant. But life is not all about performance. Life is different. It's an experience. An experience is not a question of good or bad. An experience is an experience. And as we say with my good friend Quinn, it's like when you want to taste a chocolate. You can talk about chocolate all day long. If you don't taste it, it remains very theoretical, right?
Yeah.
That's the point. All the topic we are discussing might seem a bit abstract, but we can bring it to business if you want. But
yes, I want to eventually.
Yeah, absolutely. But the point is, experience makes the difference. Yeah. And people, and that's something I learned back to humility. People, everyone is unique. Everyone has his own genius. Everyone has something to bring to the table, to life and to humanity. And everyone has its own path of development and has to experience a certain quality of life. And nobody can derail them from that.
No. Do you believe that we are born with a blueprint, a special blueprint, all of us?
We are born with an intention. Yes.
Okay.
Blueprint would mean that it is you have some boundaries and you're limited in that. Well, we can discuss about fate versus free will. We can discuss for ages. I think you come in this earth plane with an intention. I'm quite of a spiritual being, so I believe that there is a soul, and the soul comes and have an experience. Okay, let's agree on that, at least for this discussion. The soul has an intention, and this intention can, by the way, be repeated in different lifetime, what we call reincarnation, if you believe in that. But it keeps on going, right? And that intention give birth to experiences. Those mega experiences will happen on your pathline. Now, whether you do it now or in 2 years is irrelevant. Time is not the issue. Time depends on your internal resonance and internal resistance to things. But it will happen. If you have to make the experience of love, you will make it. If you have to make the experience of loss, you will make it. And usually we all go through all of them, but whether it goes fast or it goes slowly, it's big magnitude or not big magnitude, or the way we react to it, it happens differently. And
so
what
is
I
this
love,
intention based on previous lifetimes and what we need to come back to learn in this life? Or how would you
for me,
express it?
it's the quality of your life. It's the quality of your soul. The soul has a curious mind or a curious intention and wants to investigate stuff. And it has a specific color, and the color will then translate into what you bring. It can be through art, it can be through deep analysis, it can be anything. And that's your genius. And that genius then will create an environment, which is your life, that will construct based on that genius. So you can call it an energetic blueprint if you want, or a resonance. And life will structure around that so that you have the experience that make you realize who you really are. And that's the beauty. When you say in spiritual teaching, as you move on, the more you go, the more you become who you are, it's simply that you are getting rid of all the programming that comes from education or thinking or your friends, educators. And you just say, but at the center, who am I? Right? And the who am I is this intent, this essence of your soul, of your blueprint, if you want, that actually tells you, that's who you have come to discover or remember. And it's all about remembering. That's interesting.
It's all about remembering. It's very interesting. And return to the person that you are supposed to become, right?
Yeah. And sometimes you need to let go of something. I had to leave SAP, the big software giant. I spent 18 years in SAP. And I decided to leave in April. And since then, it's like I'm reborn. It's like...
You have given space to something else.
Correct. Given space.
So you have more space to remember. More.
Yes. Yeah. And I realized that I was remembering. I thought I was on a quest since I'm 17. This quest of the invisible, as I call it, and the connection between science and ancient tradition. But the quest would say, I am a knight, I like this medieval type picture anyway, King Arthur.
Yeah.
So I was always in that type of mindset when I was younger. So for me, the quest was something very active, courageous, values, with your shield, I found now something much more peaceful. It was a remembering. I was, of course, on the quest to remember, but it's a remembering. There is something within you that wants to be expressed, and I started creating space to let it happen and emerge. Not through the reading of someone else's book, because I spent my life reading. And then I stopped. I was 42. I remember I think I did a reading burnout.
Okay.
I came to the point where I realized that reading books from someone else didn't help me get closer to that feeling of who I was. And I didn't see that. I thought that by collecting all the information, I would come to that nugget of something. It's not true. So I stopped reading for 3 years.
Wow.
For 3 years, I stopped. I went into breathing, meditation, energy groups. I started sensing, talking to shaman, to medium, trying to understand something different, right? And by stopping the brain from absorbing data, I created more space from the inside, from the heart, to connect to something else. I'm still learning this because I'm still very brainy and I like it. But when I read now, it's not because I want to learn, it's because I sense it's the right time to read the book. So I have lots of books on my shelf and I wait till I'm called to read it and I pick it up.
Because it is difficult to learn if you already know. I mean, this is the thing that with academic communities or science communities, you have learned so much. And also backing it all the way until we grow up, all the conditioning that we are learning, all the programming. So what do you think is the most difficult with the unlearning process and to discover? We are calling it that we are in this awakening, global awakening. Could you elaborate a little bit on that and tell people, the listeners, how does it work?
So awakening So for me, awakening is not a status, right? When we say enlightenment and so on, it's not a state, it's a process. Second, I am not at that level, into brackets, so I cannot tell about that. I can just tell you a point of view.
Yeah, your
Unlearning,
experience. I mean, I'm
yeah,
referring to
exactly.
your experience.
But I like to mention that because I see some of the gurus with all the wisdom behind that term who are amazing people, Eckhart Tolle or Sadhguru. I mean, those people are just amazing.
Amazing.
What I believe is this. Unlearning is key. And unlearning requires humility and the courage to face the void. We as human species are afraid of emptiness. We're afraid of the void. We're afraid of the vacuum. Funnily enough, because it could be the shadow, right? And as a coach, when I talk to people and I said, I always go beyond coaching. Coaching for me is a structured, and then I believe in quantum coaching. But I tell them, there is something else, but I said, we are afraid to find what is beyond. But I said, beyond is yourself, right? I said, yeah, but what is it? It's like it's a dark place. It's not a dark place. It's a fun place. It's a lightful way. But I think we are afraid of that emptiness, to let go of our certainty, of our belief, of any concepts. It's like, those scientists, that's why it's so interesting to go into science. When Einstein comes with his way of thinking, when there is traditional physics, and then quantum metaphysics comes and say, no, the way you look at the world is different because at the subatomic particle is totally different. It's chaotic, it's probabilistic, it's superposition, it's entanglement. They're concepts that the standard physicists couldn't apprehend. They were afraid of letting go of that, saying, it's crazy, I can't get there, it's too scary. And it took lots of courage for scientists to accept a different way of looking at the world, right? And I guess it's the same for us. Awakening is the readiness to go into the unknown, to let go of the known and to go into the unknown. And that's why I'm so happy we have that discussion, because 2 days ago I was in an event in France called Play for Life, and the idea was to talk about regeneration of the planet. We went beyond the seventh boundary, the planetary boundary. The seventh one have been bypassed.
Yeah.
And we will not be able to help act as regenerative actors if we don't change our way of thinking. If as a corporation, as a leader, we don't go beyond profitability and performance. Short-termism. It requires a quantum leap. That quantum leap is a jump into the unknown. But this unknown is so scary. Can it be that we have a company which is not focused on profit and rent and profitability? Is it possible? Is that a company or is it something different, right? What is it on the other side of the veil, right? And if we go into those personal development stuff, what are we going to find? It's scary. It's all that void that scares us. And there are the people who say, I go there because they are called to do it, or there are people who are invited to do it through life, through some experiments, some accidents, sometimes some disease, sometimes, and forces you to dive into it. You have no choice, right? So
So what was the essence that you brought with you from that fair, the play with life? What takeaways were the best ones that you can share with the viewers?
The beautiful sentence was one of the researchers says, we tried science, nobody listened. We tried rational mind discussion, nobody listened. So now we try emotions. When you talk about awakening is the fact of moving from the head to your central neuronal system, your heart, right? And all the ancient tradition tells you this. Move from the heart, go to your heart, feel love and compassion and empathy. It's right here, it's emotion.
Yeah.
And we have built in our Western society an amazing machine, which is extremely effective, efficient, performant, right here.
Yeah.
Awakening is just balancing this thing, right? Moving in between the two. And if leaders could do it, if leaders could simply open that, first acknowledge the fact that the brain is amazing, we can do many things with that, but that all the amazing progress we've made was to the detriment of the earth and the ecosystem and the living. There is something not balanced. There is something unbalanced. We went too far. So now that we know this, we need just to add a little bit of emotion, compassion, empathy, and start balancing our technology with emotions. Right? And here we will find a balance. And that balance will enable us to move to a different threshold, right? To cross the chasm, as we call it in science, and move to a totally different space. And that's where awakening for me kicks in. It's
Yeah.
that this realignment, this balancing of the mind and the heart, right? The emotion and the thinking. We need both.
Yes, and I've read it somewhere that to really go through a full transformation, we have to address the three brains that we have.
I didn't
The,
put the third one, the guts.
the gut as well. But I mean,
So,
also the heart brain is sending the 60,000 neural cells that sit here,
mm.
sending signals up to our brain up here.
Oh, yeah.
How can we
Actually,
work with the coherence in our daily lives?
the coherence is a conscious thing. So first of all, going into coherent breathing 5 minutes a day. Just breathing in 5 seconds, exhaling 5 seconds, and breathing through the heart as it comes in, just so that the system starts balancing. Your nervous system balance out, you're more relaxed, you're more focused. It doesn't hurt anyone. It's not meditation, it's only breathing. It's easy. There is no attachment to any spirituality or tradition. It's just breathing. It's what you do. If you don't do, you die, right? So it's good to do it. And doing coherence breathing is extremely positive. 12,000 chemical reaction in your body, extremely positive for your entire being. And that takes 5 minutes a day. If you can do 3 times 5, even better.
Consciously.
Consciously. We are back to conscious. The same for grounding. The fact that when you arrive somewhere, you breathe in, you feel that you're connected to the earth. You just sense the earth connecting with you. You feel a bit more relaxed, grounded. You're not only in your head, trying just to move a little bit down. Because we're always there when we think.
We're always here.
Exactly. So just going down and taking a bit more time to listen, time to breathe, time to anchor, because we are human beings. We are not acting beings. We are not doing beings. We are human beings, and we need to do stuff. But we need to do stuff in relation with the environment. We need to look at the environment and accept that we are part of the living. We are not disconnected. Even though
exactly. And especially in living in big cities with the bus and the noise. Majority are very disconnected from nature, and we have to admit that we are part of nature. We have to ask nature. And we are born with the same inner capacities, theoretically. I mean, if we are normal, like we are born with the same kind of physical bodies. Are we entering in a new era where we are starting to be aware of that we have inner capacities that can actually be trained?
Yes. And that's the magic, Jessica. For me, what's amazing is to be alive today. First, because there are many, many challenges that we have created on our path to learning about technology and progress, without being conscious enough about what we were doing. We were playing, right? Boys with toys, as said in a James Bond movie. But it's true. You are boys with toys. We are developing technology. We move on and we see what it gives. And then we say, because we have hope, we can change. If there is a problem, we're going to face it when we are there. So we run, and it's fine. It's okay. It's part of our discovery process. We are a very creative species. On the other hand, what I found absolutely amazing is what you said. Science now gives us the language to understand and accept and open and welcome ancient tradition.
That's amazing. And to be able to bring it into boardrooms and actually tell the board members why the meditation is increasing productivity and why we should do this. It's not the woo-woo stuff anymore.
No. And I never resonated with woo, because as I told everyone, even all the materialist people, I said, listen, you can only say it's woo-woo once you have studied, researched, collected information, and came with the absolute proof that it doesn't exist. And most of the people I know who are materialists cannot go there because they will refuse. And when, the way I move up usually those scale, when they are materialistic and think only about what they get through the 5 senses, I tell them this usual question, do you like your kids or your wife or your husband said yes. Say, prove it to me. Yeah, show me the exact scientific proof that you love your kids. And they stop.
Yeah.
So you're not even a human being then. What are you? What, a robot? Okay, if you want to be a robot, be my guest. But, I prefer to love. It's cool.
Yeah.
And to be loved, by the way, is not a bad thing, right? It's a nice, warm experience. And it stopped there already. The materialistic stopped there. But then we move to the next one, which is psychological. Everything comes from the brain, neuroscience. And consciousness is an effect of the brain. Nope, sorry. You can open everything. You open your brain, you see all those very nice neurons and dendrites and everything. You look into there and say, where are the thoughts? Not there. Where are the emotions? Not there. Where are the love you feel? Not there. Okay, so is it really coming from there? And then you say, no. So where does it come from? And that's why it comes from the field. And that's why quantum physics tells you there are fields of energy. Some people call it the unified field, which I love.
Yeah.
Not yet proven. But the fact is everything comes from there.
It's not yet proven. I
Nope.
thought so.
What? No, you have dedicated fields, electromagnetic fields, Higgs fields. You have fields by area of science. But through discussions, metaphysics discussion, Max Planck was saying, below all this, there is an intelligence. There is a consciousness. Okay. The truth is, there is something called the 0-point energy. When you go close to the absolute zero, where everything is frozen, even all the particles stops, there are still remaining energy, right? 0-point energy. This energy exists. That's what I call the field, right? It's that field of energy and information, because who says energy says information, that actually holds everything. Everything is based on that energy. That's what I call and refer to the 0-point energy field or the quantum field. But the truth is, in science, they don't look at this. They look at specific fields where forces can be applied, because force cannot be in the ether. They need, by the way, an ether kind of field where they can be applied. Right? Gravity, electromagnetism, whatever. And that's where the field comes in. But there are metaphysical debate now saying, because everything is fractal, there should be, and holographic, there should be somewhere a unified field. And that's what we look into it. But it was first prioritized by new scientists and this new age type new age type thinking, saying there should be one thing. But the more we go there, the more science develops. Yes, of course, there are debates saying there should be one field called the quantum field or the 0-point energy field, right? And for me, it's my absolute belief and conviction and intuition since I'm very young, that there is that field and everything emanates from there through gradient of density. And Nassim Haramein talks about that. I like it quite a lot because it's very intuitive. There is one thing, and it starts building up and deploying, and then gravitation arises, and then electromagnetism arises, but from that same core. Right?
Yeah.
That for me intuitively makes more sense. And when you tap into it, when you go into meditation, when you get into oceanic experience, from the Buddhist, it seems you fly into that field. And that's when you feel like you're part of everything. It can only be explained if there is that frame of energy that connects all things.
Absolutely.
And when you tap into it through consciousness, because consciousness is outside of you and inside of you, you can tap into everything because everything is connected. And that justifies then all the experience you have when you meditate.
Of course, I was just going to ask you about meditation, because you've been meditating basically all your life since you were young, and me too. And I can reach into that state when I can feel I get downloads and I'm channeling something from the quantum field. I get messages, but I cannot really explain it scientifically. I don't know how can you explain what is happening when this occurs?
I mean, I cannot say I can explain. I can tell you that there is a French scientist, Philippe Guillemot, who probably has given for me the most structured way of understanding what's going on. And he says it has all to do with information. Quantum field exists. There is a field of energy. It's all given. We agreed that matter is energy Everything is energy.
Everything, yeah.
Well, that is proven by science, right? It's the core of science and quantum physics. And by the way, we celebrate today, this year, the 100 years anniversary of quantum, right? 1925, officially with the birth of Heisenberg and Schrödinger equation
And
and
the
so on.
discovery, yeah.
Yeah. So it's, let's say, the beginning, even though it started in 1904, 1905. It's when we said 1925 is really the birth of quantum physics. Fact is, I derailed, obviously. Why did I derail now?
No, I was asking you about how can we explain this thing
Oh,
when
yeah.
we enter the quantum field through meditation and we get
Hmm.
images or downloads or information. Information is traveling through light, right? And also very much through water. It's all related, I guess.
At the end of the day, and that's the important point, quantum physics tells you everything is energy. Is everything is energy, it means we are all made of the same thing. If we are all made of the same thing, we can therefore interconnect. And that's very interesting. Thoughts, emotions, visions, intuition, as much as table, computer, cars, trees, minerals, flowers, are composed of the same thing. What it opens as a possibility is unlimited. Second level, above energy or below energy, as you wish, there is consciousness. Consciousness as a universal principle. You can call it the Tao, you can call it God, you can call it as you wish. I call it the source, we can call it consciousness. That consciousness makes it that everything is conscious, therefore for me living, and therefore can be contacted and interacted with, and you can enter into a relation with it. This opened to me the crazy idea, and I must admit, having decided to be crazy on your podcast, I can continue.
Yes, please.
I ask myself, if everything I've studied for 30 years is true, if there is the field of energy and which hold all information and all potential, that below that is the principle of consciousness, that everything is conscious, could it be that projects and organizations are conscious, meaning they pre-exist in the field before coming into manifestation in 3D reality? So bear with me. I started with that hypothesis, with my scientific approach. I said, let's take that as an hypothesis. It's not me as a man connecting to an idea and creating it. It's the idea having a willingness to manifest that chose me because I have the same frequency. That came to me while I was running or relaxing or meditating. It came to me because we were on the same frequency and said, Axel, I choose you to manifest me into life. I said, okay, reverse then the paradigm. I've been chosen. Point at which free will kicks in. I can decide to accept the project or to refuse the project. Maybe it's not the right time. My life goes in crazy time, so I park the idea. But then it will come back. 10 years down the road, the book you wanted to write it, which I've done. 10 years down the road, even though I started 77 pages, now it came back because I had more space. I said, I want to go back, and I felt it while I was doing Qigong meditation. It was like, write the book. I said, why? 10 years down the road, it came back. So the project wanted to manifest, came to me and said, get me into manifestation, which I agreed, and I did it. Took the time, wrote the book, published the book. That's it. Let me continue on that. What about companies and projects? I was at SAP, a very hands-on computer science, right? Company, surrounded by salespeople. I am a coach, I'm a trainer, I'm in charge of transformation. And I decided to test quantum leadership and quantum selling.
In SAP?
Yeah, because SAP has always, for me, has been an incubation center.
Yeah.
And SAP is smart enough to give you that freedom when you want to try, as long as you do your job, be free. So I invited some people and said, I will do this. I will think quantum leadership, I will go quantum management, and I will go one step beyond. I will go quantum selling. So here I go. I said, well, what about calling a sales guy that you don't know, working on a project that you don't know, creating a framework where I can ask questions about the status of the customer and the dynamic inside the customer and the relationship with SAP and the status inside SAP and the direction where the deal wants to go. What if everything is in the field and everything is conscious, I should be able to tap into that level of information. But it was not woo, it was pure hardcore sales. So I found someone, because the first problem you have is to get someone to agree to do this.
Yeah.
So I spent 3 months building the tool, right? I call that the intuitive business compass. I created it. So I knew SAP, I took 20 dimensions, 6 choices per dimension, because I wanted to use a dice as a medium of communication.
I love this.
And I found someone in Spain who was an inside selling person who was selling a project in Nigeria. And he's a young person, 27, 28, I guess. And he accepted. He said, Axel, my girlfriend is into spirituality. What you say is energy or whatever. Okay, I'm ready to play 45 minutes the game. I said, okay, let's do it. But think about what it takes. It means for me to coach someone for 50 minutes, not knowing what I'm talking about. Okay?
So that's brave, eh? That's brave.
Yeah, brave or crazy as you want. Same thing.
Both.
but from a place of faith and a place of research. So I started, and I told him, listen, bring a dice. I explained for 5 minutes the process. Quantum physics, the field of information, everything is available. We're going to use the dice as vehicle to tap into it. And I'm going to ask you a question, going through dimensions by dimensions. You're going to throw the dice, and I will tell you the words I've written. Of course, the words written are based on my experience, what's going on in a sales SAP complex selling motion, right? But I stay at the vision level, at the dynamics, at the motivation, at the resistance, at the perception of what is SAP, strategic partner or just community partner, this type of things. And I say, but you don't give me any feedback during the entire session. What happened was amazing. I say, okay, first one, level of transformation. What's the level of transformation of that account? Between 1 to 6, right? And then level of vision of the board. Motivation of the people inside the organization. Relationship with SAP. And he was throwing the dice. And as he was throwing the dice, and I saw the keywords I identified, it's as if the project started going around me, as if I was diving into the essence of the project. And the project itself was going around me. And I could sense the story of what was unfolding inside the account. And during 50 minutes, I start telling what the account and the deal and the SAP relationship was trying to tell that person who is a salesperson.
Wow.
And that was amazing. And now I repeated that 17 times. I think one of the most... oh, by the way, now let me finish. I always jump, sorry. After 50 minutes, I stopped. I stopped. And I said, okay, I spoke for 50 minutes without knowing the deal, the environment, or the experience you are having. Now tell me, how far am I from reality? And then you have a big silence. And I'm like, is it good or bad, right? And the guy said, is it magic you're doing? And I said, what do you mean? He said, if I had to say you're 99% correct, up to 100%, and you helped me gain clarity and confidence on the deal, because I now understand what was blocking me, because I couldn't understand where the board was in terms of their vision. And I'm like, you're pulling my leg, you're joking? Is it serious?
Wow,
said,
what an experiment.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I must admit that there is something I did. I created the tool myself, but I invited for that call my good friend Émilie Lapierre, who is a channel, for 2 reasons. First, because she's totally neutral to SAP and the sales world, and because she's an empath and a channel, her level of tuning into the field is more subtle than mine. Okay, mine was a reading of... First, I built the tool, so I could tell the story. What Emily could do was to bring another layer of more personal flavor, creating a bit more connection between the person and the deal. I was more about the dynamic of the deal, very SAP, but extremely precise on that dynamic. Emily was bringing a more human interaction. And we now always go together.
Amazing.
But what was funny is that I have done that now 17 times. Now,
Yeah.
you might question how much time you need to create something like this and how much do you need to say it exists or it works. I think where I had a doubt was when I did it for the biggest ever deal of SAP with Lockheed Martin. I will not disclose any confidential information.
No, but you actually did it in a big closure as a practical, real case in SAP.
It's
You used
always
it.
real. Yeah, it's always real. But my dream is to bring that to any companies, any leaders, any salesperson.
Yeah. But I
That's
mean, to actually have been able to try it out in SAP must be amazing.
yeah,
You know it's real, but these kind of
yeah,
companies,
exactly.
I mean, it's a fantastic experimental
Yes. For me, it's like
playground there.
it is a playground, and that's the funny part. I would like to bring to the surface to people the fact that there are so many information available, and there are now tools available to use it in sales, in business, but not to win the deal, to actually help the deal to reach its highest potential and its highest manifestation point. It all comes back from the same thinking. If the project and the company have essence in the field, they want to manifest with their highest blueprint potential. So we know that a deal has lots of potential. But because of our fear, of our research for profitability, we're going to just try to manipulate the deal so that we just get 20% of it in terms of value or impact. And that doesn't serve humanity. It doesn't serve the customer. It doesn't serve SAP. It doesn't serve the provider. It doesn't serve the partners. And it doesn't serve the customers.
Okay.
When you think on a different level, saying everything wants to emanate at the highest potential, hence the HP, obviously, the high potential, or the high frequency, then the objective is how can you get all the information so that the manifestation reach the highest potential. And that's where the intuitive business compass kicks in. It doesn't replace your planning, your assessment, your interviews. That's normal. You need to do it, right? Competitive analysis, all that. But when you reach a customer like this one, which has 80,000 people, are you running 80,000 interviews? No, you run 20 and you say, based on the 20, I know what's going on. Sorry, bullshit. When you do an intuitive energy assessment, you tap into the field of entire energy. So you have the energy of the 80,000 consciousness inside the organization. And the reflection is much more precise than the 20 interviews you've run.
Wow.
And that opens a totally new door of consulting.
Totally new door.
Exactly. So what I call intuitive leadership, intuitive management, intuitive business, you call it, right, selling, is only the way to tap into this. And the fact is, as I spent the last 6 years working, collaborating with my dear friend Emily, who is a channel, I could validate time and time again the level of energy available in the field, because the level of data she has access to is mind-blowing. I don't have access to that level of data. I know how to channel it through a process so that everyone can tap into it. I'm I'm an intuitive creator and I am a generalist. My job is to make things available to everyone. Emily taps into very clear data. She can channel it, write it, explain it. My job is to understand the point of manifestation between the invisible and the visible. I have always been fascinated by that connecting point. What happened, between nothing and something? My job is to create the tools and not my job. One of my passions is to find that instrument that can help anyone to tap into the invisible.
And how receptive are corporates now when you approach them with this new intuitive tool to tap into all this?
Few things happened. First, the people said, It's funny what you said, Axel, because I sensed it, but I couldn't put words on that, and I didn't want to see it. Here comes a problem for me trying to sell that, is that people say, what's the value of that? Because they don't value intuition over thinking. Intuition is like, nice to have. The truth is, as Einstein said, we reverse the servant and the master, right? The master is the intuition and the servant is the brain, but actually we did the opposite. But beyond that, the first thing I loved was people realized clarity and confidence comes from intuitive, not from thinking. In thinking, we're like, yeah, but are the data secure? Do we have enough? Shall we do it? Do we control? It's like constrictive. But confidence and clarity, when you're surrounded by the project and you can speak to the project, confidence and clarity emerge.
Yeah.
And we realize that with Emily a lot, and we see that's magical because people could be clear about the intention of what the deal wants and the company wants. Now, if your question is, did people started to standardize that? No, for a simple reason. They believe they need me because I created the tool, I facilitated the session. But of course, I couldn't go to the end because I was validating my concept.
Yeah.
I didn't create the training to make that happen. Now I did. I want with the book I have written that give you the frame, with the tool we have built, the Intuitive Business Compass and the 3 archetypes, might require a different podcast. I have created now the way for everyone, even a game called Decant, where the 3 archetypes comes in, which are energy forces, that tells you on any projects, your challenge when you go into a project, what you can expect, what gifts you will have from that project. And it's very intuitive. And you play cards, you have 70 cards, whatever. And it tells you exactly what you're going to get from your project as a person. So I have a part for business. And I have a part
you have already this game is out there.
Yes. Sorry.
Somebody wants to come into the podcast?
It was my son. Now.
Oh, well, say hi to him later.
Sorry, he was calling. Yes, I built the tool as well. I built the game with good friends. And my problem is just time to bring that to the table and actually to find courageous, open-minded business people ready to do it. And not even ready to do it is a natural awakening.
Curious enough, because we have, like Einstein said, we have to embrace the curious.
Yes. And I'm at the moment, I have 3 initiatives with Quinn that you have interviewed.
Yes.
We built humanness.
We could say that here in the show that you are the tandem with Quinn. That was the previous episode.
Yes.
Humanness, and you are going to bring humanness into the organizations.
Yes, and what we are experiencing.
What does that mean?
You restoring human qualities in business. We don't take the time to have an open, trustworthy, vulnerable conversation. And I'm learning big time, humanness is a very human thing. It's a bit far away from quantum. It's very human. And I need to go back to really human qualities. And for me, humanness feed me because it gets me back to humanity, what it is to be human. And it's beautiful. And everyone needs it. Believe me, we talk to big corporations, they all say, fine, performance, fine, but everyone is exhausted. I mean, Queen all said that in your podcast. I will not repeat, but I guess we need it. Humanness anchor that human qualities. Then with my good friend Laurent, we created an association in France where we talk about systemic thinking and regenerative practices. And we want to develop the skill, because everyone talks about competence and skills, of systemic thinking and systemic tools. Because if you don't understand the living, if you don't understand your impact on what you do at a higher level of consciousness, and you go through the spiral dynamics, if you don't do this, you will keep on doing blind activities, unconscious management, unconscious business. And we don't have time for that anymore. So that's my second one.
We don't have time for that.
No,
time is precious. Mm-hmm.
Yes, time is precious, and we need to act in consciousness. And with consciousness. The third pillar for me is Emily and me creating Becoming Human. Becoming Human is what we discussed, is just understanding the magic of being human, realizing our true potential. And by potential, I mean the level of mastery that we all have within ourselves. But it requires to refresh some of our belief system, what we call human constructs. We have so many things frozen, saying, that is it. Actually, it's not totally true. Some concept needs to be, what is related, what is business, update, upgrade.
Or let go of.
Exactly, exactly. Should be different. So with Emily, we work this, and at the core of this triangle, I have dynamic transformation, which is me, my energy, where I translate everything I believe in from the quantum into a book, tools, games. It's all based on quantum. So me is the quantum resonance, but I then collaborate with my partners through businesses and projects to give them different colors, because
Yeah.
Queen is much more, I would say, much more human, and I would agree, is much more empathetic than Lion. Therefore, it has the color of humanness. And with Emily, the becoming human are both our energies. I'm more becoming and transformation. That's why I'm so passionate about transformation. Becoming is my energy, and Emily is all about the love of humanity, what it is. It's human. So becoming human is our combined energy. And that's how things happen. It's much more intuitive, much more balanced. We don't force things. We don't follow standard sales process. We just emanate the energy. We have open discussion. And when time is appropriate, customer shows. But it's against any rule of what I've built in sales processes, account planning, opportunity management, forecasting. We are very,
But
very...
that maybe that is why it gives so much credibility to that you're doing this because you believe in this after 30 years of doing the other.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's complementary.
Because people will listen to you because they know your work, what you did.
Mm.
And finally, that will also give a lot more sense into your quest that you felt when you were 17.
Definitely.
That you needed those 3 decades
Yes.
in the traditional technology
Companies.
world.
Yes.
And now I think it's momentum that you
Yes.
bring all this invisible, fantastic work that you're working with into life. The world needs it. The world needs it.
I guess the world just need to realize that there is a bit more, and more importantly, that everyone can tap into it. And my dream would be, collaborating with you and with all the great job you do and all the events that you're organizing, maybe next year and so on.
Yes.
Just to have the chance to show them this. Everyone can. And by the way, when we are creating now experience. I was doing training, and now I move away from training because I'm trying to reduce my brain and move more here, right? So we are just organizing experiences. Yeah? So people come, extract themselves from day-to-day busyness, and just make experiences. Of course, we give them some insights, but it's more experiences. And this is where, we ask people to do what I told you with the 3 archetype, to play the game. I show them once, 20 minutes, and then say, no, you do it yourself. And they're like, can we? So yes. So you need to coach people on doing that. And you need to get your intuition to tell what the project is all about, but always without knowing what the project is. So you ask them a leap of faith. You ask them a leap of confidence on intuition. You ask them to feel, sense what the cards want to tell. And you see how natural it is. Out of 12 people, 13 people that we had in the workshop, when you ask them, how did it go? So fine, it's like natural. We all use our intuition. We are all intuitive.
Yeah.
The question is, do you listen to it or not?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Exactly. And before we finish, time goes so quickly with you. We have to do a second episode. But yeah. I wanted to ask you also what your opinion about. I mean, AI is accelerating tremendously. It becomes a super tool for humanity.
Yep.
And what is important from your point of view about us to be able to unleash our full human potential and not let it become passively users of AI? How can we? I mean, AI can be a positive tool, but many people are afraid of it because it can passivize us.
Yes.
What is your take on that?
Okay, the brain says, be careful, don't become slave, as always. It's a tool, and you need to be the master of the tool. That's the brain. The quantum and the galactic thinking tells you any species at one level of development needs to free itself from repetitive tasks and come to face another level of technology or intelligence called artificial intelligence. You can discuss about that notion. That will help you free yourself so that you can become who you really are, which is a creative species. So all what is not meaningful can be outsourced. Whatever then becomes important, conscious development, cooperation, galactic traveling, something serious. Yeah? We are not a small species on a small planet. We are an amazing creative species, not a war species, a creative species. And we are here to discover, right? Star Trek. So give to AI whatever is repetitive and boring so that you can start exploring universe, which is, by the way, infinite. So there are
Yeah,
infinite
exactly.
levels of discovery. That's who we are meant to become. And AI is meant to help us with this. In between those two, there is a spectrum of people who will want to make war, manipulate, dominate, the dark triad. We know that.
Mm.
But it's only a sub element. People are not looking for this. But again, jump into the unknown. It means new definition of work, new definition of organization, new definition of the objective of humans, new definition of how the society collaborate with very advanced technology called AI. Unknown. So let's be curious, let's be joyful, but be aware that we are the creators, not the AI. AI cannot create for now. It's a mirror of your level of consciousness. If you type stupid text, it gets stupid answers. If you have elaborated prompt, you get elaborated answers. It's only a mirroring of your level of consciousness.
Yeah. And it's a fantastic assistant if you use it right.
Super assistant.
Yeah.
And even a super assistant to write books.
Yes.
It helps for those who are not totally writers, but good assistant.
Yeah. So being an expert on the brain, can you tell the listeners and viewers a recommendation when we wake up in the morning, because you were talking about variations and repetitive patterns? What is there any daily practices that we could use that are powerful in order not to get stuck in autopilot? How do we change behaviors?
So the first is the statement of Rumi, the poet. He said, whatever is good for you is what you should do. Don't do what Axel is saying, irrelevant. Do what you feel is right for you. That's what you should do. What I do, as much as I can, is some Qigong, because I believe in physical movement. When we discuss about meditation, meditation is static for me. I prefer meditation in movement, like Qigong or Tai Chi. And Qigong, I start getting into it much more. So physical movement, very important. Second one, I still go 21 minutes in meditation. And meditation, we can discuss for hours. I'm not the top expert, but I know that it is to feel your body. It is to be in the body. For me, it's not to go out there. It's more to be in the body, sensing it, relaxing into it, grounding it, and then letting and welcoming whatever comes. Creating that space between the thoughts. When you say routine, a routine is something where it goes into circle, right? And you're repeating the same thing. 90% when you're 40 years of age, 90% of your thinking is standardized. So the objective of meditation is just to create that space where you can have something new coming in from the field, right? From the field.
Yes.
So you open that space, and that's all I'm looking for when I meditate. Just try to calm down the brain and try to open up a little bit to get that space. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. But I think the physical aspect, whether you walk in nature or you do Qigong, whatever, or yoga, and those times where you can slow down and open for new ideas. This would be the two recommendations.
Fantastic. And also maybe set an intention every day.
Yeah.
Because the intention can really pulls you forward into your life. No? Yeah.
Yes. I must admit, intention for me is I have all those projects behind me. So my intention is like, I have strong intention, put it that way. I use intention a lot. The magic is not intention, meaning from the brain power, is the high elevated emotions combined with the intention. The magic comes from
the coherence.
You need to sense and feel the emotions. Right? So gratitude is key. And this is more end of day. When you go back and you go to bed and you go and sleep, send some words of gratitude for the people you met, for the breathing, for the family you have, for the environment. Even though sometimes it was a tough day, you're alive, right? You could not be, you're alive. So life can be magical. So gratitude at the end of the day, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful and important. And we will share all the links for people to get in contact with you, to open up their cooperation and make them into living organisms. And also your book and your book, we have to know where to get hold of. And I would like to, I pick up that in the beginning of our talk that you had some UFO experiences. When do you think open contact will happen in our lifetime?
You mean official open contact? Because open
Official open
contacts,
contact.
since 1928,
Yeah, no. I know. But this thing that can UFO go mainstream then? when
yeah,
when will people actually have
it
this
will
experience
it will
on a
happen.
broader scale?
Yeah, it will happen when humanity as a species will be ready to accept the fact that we are not alone. And currently we are not. Because believe me, when you see them coming and they are not bad, they are very nice, positive people, beings. The intention is not to take over us. So we need to be first a species of peace, in peace and of peace. And second, we need to be open to the fact that in an unlimited universe, it would be ridiculous to believe that we are the only intelligent species. Why building an unlimited, infinite universe for humans?
Yeah, what's the
Sorry,
purpose of that?
doesn't make any sense. Even
No.
a kid of 2 years old would agree on that. So the question is, are we ready to hear that new narrative? So unless we change our narrative, we are not alone, we understand what is our role as galactic species, it will not happen, because it will be too detrimental to all our belief systems and our economy and our structure. And also, even worse, we would do what we repeat again and again and again, which is a mistake in religion sometimes. We give our power to something else. We're going to give our power to extraterrestrial beings because they are more advanced in consciousness and more advanced in technology. So they're going to come to save us. As long as we are not in level of mastery of who we are as species, as divine creators, as I call them, there is no chance a more elaborated technology or consciousness entity would come. Because if they do, you will become subservient to them by default.
Yeah.
And this cannot happen. So
And yeah.
it will
And
not
so this
happen.
means that we have to also rise our awareness, which means that we have to rise our vibration.
Yes, but absolutely. And the good thing is that the Earth is raising. So we have no choice.
Yeah.
The only thing is, do we resist? In that case, do we resist our intuition? Or do we accept and embrace our intuition? Because the Earth is going there. The Schumann resonance is increasing, whether we like it or not, is pure science. So the
Yeah.
fact is, we are looking for our own mastery. Humans have to become masters. Not only Jesus, Buddha, no, we all are masters.
Of
Once we become
ourselves.
masters, yes.
Evident.
Yes, but realizing it, acknowledging it, and speaking it,
And embodying it. Yeah.
and embodying it is a different thing. And once we're going to be master of our beings and who we are, then we can be contacting by extraterrestrials.
Wow. Yeah, I can't wait for that to happen
Oh, yes.
officially.
That will be fun.
But yeah. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing your insights here on the podcast. I'm really truly grateful. It's the whole purpose of this podcast is to get these stories out there and spread consciousness and make people more curious to explore who they are themselves and also share with others, because it's the collective consciousness that makes all the big shifts and the big
Yes.
changes. Together we can do it. So thank you, Axel.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening and watching us. Until the next time.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.